I'd like to welcome you all back to the channel. So we have with us today Aleeza Ben Shalom, and Aleeza is a jack of many trades. She has a business called the Marriage Minded Mentor. She is a known author, a speaker. She has a web series called Soon by You. And most recently, she's become famous for this Netflix show, Jewish Matchmaking, which she is the star of. And another thing about Aleeza, which everybody might not know, is that Aleeza interviewed me 12 years ago when she still had a channel the old school way. I think you had a frequency, but it was on the internet, not on a radio station, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. A long time ago, I had a dating site, and so the tables were turned, although, yeah, I was not the as famous as Aleeza has become now. And so I asked Aleeza to come on the show because I wanted to ask her a couple of questions that are a little bit different than the ones she's probably been sharing. I mean, you had a tour, right? You came around America, you've been on show, we're seeing you all over the place. And it's interesting because sometimes you're all like loud and lively and funny, and sometimes you're more, calm and serious. But, you've been sharing a lot of wisdom on a topic that you are the pro at. So, anyways, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to let you talk a little bit. Um, so, I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, what got you into this business? Um, when did you realize that you excel at it? Do you have a knack? Is it like off the cuff? Do you have a certain strategy you follow? And is there someone you attribute this to? Like, is this something that runs in the family, your mother, your father? You know, if you could give us a feel for this kind of thoughts, I would love to know.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank
So,
you.
in terms of getting into this, I had little kids at home and I was looking for something to do to keep, a little adult company and to also just kind of engage with the world instead of just being in my little world, which was full of lots of beautiful noise. But I was also looking for just some other interaction. And I started out doing matchmaking on a site that a friend recommended. She said, "Hey, there's this site, only matchmakers use it, not the singles. You want to set people up?" And I was like, "Ooh, that sounds cool." I had always kind of been a go-between between people. Yes, I had totally had a knack for it. I would say more of like an intuition and an understanding of certain things. And then for me, over the years, I strengthen my skills wherever I was weak. I was looking to strengthen myself. I was looking to build things up so that I, like you said, like became an expert in my field, that I knew more and I was doing more. And it was something that slowly evolved over years. You had like a four stack question.
Yeah,
Tell me the
sorry
last
about it.
two again.
Right.
The last two. I want to make sure I answer everything.
Well, I wanted to know if you attribute it to
Oh,
if it
yes.
was. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I remember now. So, in terms of matchmaking, I don't know if matchmaking runs in many people's families, maybe some, but
Right.
it wasn't necessarily something that ran in my family. I'm the first one who's kind of coming back to Judaism, a balas tshuva, and embracing this side. So
Hmm.
matchmaking as a concept wasn't even something that we were all. I mean, Fiddler on the Roof, everybody knows matchmaker, matchmaker. But other than that, we weren't really super familiar with being a matchmaker. But I will tell you that my mother, who learned from her mother, my grandmother, um, was always very friendly and was always looking to help people out, making oh, I know this one, I know that one, I could help you with this, that. So let's say they were a matchmaker of sorts,
Hmm.
not always people and people. It could be with business, it could be for childcare, it could be a gardener, literally anything that you needed. Oh, I could help, we could do that. Oh, I know somebody who knows somebody, and passing phone numbers around. So I think that it very honestly got started. And I do attribute my grandmother to being friendly and warm and engaging, which is exactly the way my mother is, which is exactly the way I am. And I watched her and I learned from her. And even though sometimes I would feel more shy or reserved or I wouldn't want to speak up, I saw that she could literally talk to anybody. You could set her in any place at any time, and she made best friends with the person next to her. And they walked out and they're like, "Oh, I love you." I'm like, "You just met her 2 minutes ago. What do you mean you love her?" And she had this ability to be warm and engaging. And so maybe it came by naturally, but even more so, I think that I watched and I learned how to be inviting and welcoming and
Right.
connected to people. And I think that that's a very strong part of matchmaking if it's done right.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. That's definitely something that you can model after if you have the knack yourself.
Right.
Um, okay, now as far as success rate, you just mentioned that you're a Baal Tshuva, which I did not know. I am, I guess, what you call a Choser B'tshuva. Difference being that I grew up religious and then got a little crazy along the way. And so my Rebbe that straightened me out, it was a very interesting thing because he was the greatest man I ever knew. He was like a father to me. But at the same time, I realized something. And I think, doing kiruv, helping people straighten out or find the path or become orthodox, I think in a way is similar to matchmaking in that it's almost a 99% thankless job, or maybe I could say better that it is you're going to fail most of the time. You're going to
Yes.
work on so many people. Everybody's like, wow, she's so successful, but it's a losing proposition in order
Yes.
to, I mean, how many does it not work out with? So
Right.
that's got to be challenging to be in that kind of career path.
Absolutely. So I tell my clients and I say, listen, I want you to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth because I know you're thinking, wedding, mazel tov, but I would like you to hear what I have to say. Being a matchmaker and setting somebody up, I want you to know that I will fail you every single time unless I should be blessed to be the one to introduce you to your person. Every other time, you're not going to like
Right.
anything that
You
I
only
do.
need
You're
one.
going to say, you only need one. And if you don't do one, you're a complete failure. Complete, it didn't work. Oh, no, it's nice. I mean, you tried, you made an effort. I said, yeah, but your end result, I didn't help you reach. Yeah, but I
Right.
grew and I learned something. Okay, nice. But everybody wants the result that comes out of it. And everybody wants to know, will you guarantee that you can get me married? I said, sure. Would you like to be arranged? I'd be happy to guarantee that, right? Well, I
That's
guarantee that you'll
funny.
say yes and they'll say yes and oh, and we'll have a fine time and it'll all work out. I can put you with the person that I think is most appropriate for you that I know today, and I can make a match right now, but you are 100% on the money. I am a failure every single time that I don't do that. And it is as frustrating as it is for somebody who's in that position and looking for their person, as a professional who's doing that and looking for dozens of people, it is soul crushing. And at the same time, we know that every person that you meet, like, oh, it's a step towards the right person. Yes, but it's a part of your journey. Maybe you needed that I needed that, we needed that. There's some good that comes out of it. We get to where we need to go. Boom, we learn something new. We get somewhere else. And then, yes, we do meet our person. But it is very, very, very difficult. And you have to, like if you go out in the cold or if you go, I was in Montreal a little bit this winter, right? So
Oh,
if
boy.
you don't come with the right equipment, you will freeze. It will not
Right.
work. You will not be able to withstand the weather. So if you don't have the right jacket and the right equipment, you will not be able to withstand this type of a job. You have to have a very thick skin, a positive skin, and a complete understanding of what goes into making something like this happen.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And it's true. It's a lot of times, I'll come across people that'll be like, "Oh, I don't know, it's not for me." And I tell them, dating is the world's biggest interview. You know, if you are you want to be yourself, but like, because you're setting up people that are thin-skinned and they want to stay thin-skinned, but yet you do have to do the right things. I totally get you. Next, do you find yourself to be like a rabbi, like a spiritual advisor of sorts? Because I think that in order to make a good match, in order to make a good couple, there has to be like a higher calling, whether you're Jewish or whether you're not even of any religion, there has to be something that you're goal
Mhm.
oriented towards, or else you're just doomed to failure. And it's been proven again and again. So, if you are a successful matchmaker, are you at the same time taking on like this position of uh, sort of directing people or recalibrating their views? Or is that like not your right to step in that direction? How do you feel
Okay,
about
so I would never refer to myself as a rabbi, but I understand the reference that you're making in terms of being a guide, a support, a mentor, a leader.
it? Okay,
Um,
fair.
I the language that I use is mentorship, that I would consider myself a mentor. I would consider myself somebody who has done what they want to do and been successful at it. And therefore, I have the ability to help somebody to do the same thing. And for sure, I do think that there is a process that goes on. I work with people that are secular and people that are religious as well. And I've even had non-Jewish coaching clients in terms of matchmaking. I don't have a network for it. I have other matchmakers, but I don't have a database for it. But in terms of coaching, everybody has their path. And I meet them somewhere on their path, and we go hand in hand down that path together, figuring out what the next steps are. But more than me being a leader, I would say I'm a mentor. Okay. A leader is leading the pack. I'm ahead, you're behind, you follow me. Okay. Because I'm in charge. Mentorship is side by side. And that's where we do this together. I ask questions, they provide the answers. We talk about things become relevant. They make decisions, who they are, what they want to do. And I like to ask the right questions so that we have the right frame of mind to make the decisions that need to be made to move somebody forward, whatever it is. And everybody heads in all sorts of different directions. And I want for them, whatever the right direction is for them, that's the direction I want them to go. So,
That's
and
very
I don't
interesting.
have an agenda. You know me, I'm non-judgmental. So I don't have an
Right.
agenda, up, down, left, right. You go the direction that you need to go in, and I'm going to be here to support you because that's going to bring out your best self.
That's fascinating. That's great. And the challenge is to find somebody who's sort of on that same journey or whose journey complements each other. That's you
Mhm.
should go on tour. These are some good answers.
Right.
Um,
So I am on tour. I did a May tour, I did a June tour. I have an August tour, a September tour, a November tour. We have a lot of tours coming up over the next year.
I know because I got that 1 hour in between tours.
Yeah. It's so
Okay.
true.
So what about do you find it to be an impediment that you're like younger and cool and with it, but then it seems like people are really hip to it, but it's sort of like, at least I think we are in a similar age group. I don't know how old you are, and I'm not asking, but that we grew up, with that like idea of that older person. Oh, do I have a girl for you? And you come along and you just break that mold of being able to establish faith in yourself by people that are going to be counting on you for this mentorship. I mean, before you answer, like I, even watching your shows, the you're somewhat of an entertainer. Like these kids, these adults, all these people watching you, they are not looking at oh, do I have a girl for you kind of person. It's changed. The world's changed. I don't know. What do you make of that?
So I've always looked very young, and I've been waiting to at least be as old as I am. And I will tell you, I'm 46. I've,
I still
five
win.
children. The youngest is 9, and the oldest is 19. And
Okay.
I it's been very difficult to have. I'm an old soul, as people like to say. We're all old souls, but that was how they called me. I'm the oldest of three, so I have the oldest vibe as well. And I've always hung out with adults. That was my crowd. And some of my best friends are like 15 years or more older than I am. My husband's 10 and a half years older than I am. So I have this certain maturity about me, and in the types of people that I can connect to very people much my senior, and at the same time have a fun, youthful vibe, which also can connect down, kind of like a chameleon, right? Doesn't matter which age or stage you're at. I have a vibe that's very playful and
And
engaging.
necessary in your business.
Right. Although for some people, I laugh too much. That's what I've been told. I said, well, laughter, first of all, it releases positive endorphins in me, in them, and it breaks the tension, it breaks the ice, and it builds connection. So it's really a tool that I use, besides the fact I like to laugh. I mean, I cry too. But in terms of the show and being an entertainer, so just so you get an idea, when I did plays, I had 4 speaking words. That was it. Aleeza doesn't do memorization, although I'm sure that I could. I did it for Soon by You, which was an amazing production that I was a part of and participated in. And I'm just who I am. So anything that you see that's entertainment, I like to be playful. I like to be engaging. I like that when I stretch people, we do it, in not in an abrasive way, not in a you need to do this, because I don't feel that way. Oh, what are you open to? Would this work? Would this work? Oh no. Okay, so we're going to stick in your box. That's really a small box for us. Okay, I identify it and I play with it. And then if they want to change, usually time will change them. Aleeza doesn't need to change them. It could be 2 months, it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. So it doesn't matter what it is. If what they're doing isn't working, eventually they will make a shift. But if you stretch somebody or you break them, or I've seen people be, I'm going to call it kicked or pushed or shoved down the aisle, or arms are twisted, and it's not really a healthy way to get down the aisle. It usually lands people in divorce. It is an extremely uncomfortable position, and it's not a way that I like. There are other matchmakers that do that because I have clients and they work with lots of people. And so I've seen it done other ways, and I don't like it. And it doesn't make me happy, and it doesn't make my clients
Right.
happy. So it's not my way. I'm not saying, it's completely wrong. There are people that do need a little bit of a nudge down the aisle, but I would rather do a little dance and get them to follow than push them from behind and go, jump, it's time.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. I ask you a question that is not about you, but something that you would have an opinion on. Would you agree with me that the most underused tool in the Jewish arsenal is the Shabbos table? In fact, I have this theory that somebody once sat at a Shabbos table and they saw the camaraderie and they said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And they
Yeah.
created the whole concept of the anonymous meeting. And then years later, you have people going to the anonymous meeting trying to replicate this love and acceptance of the Shabbos table. And people are trying to be religious at the wrong time, because if you would use your Shabbos table and invite guests, hey, maybe him and her, maybe we'll invite a couple of extra so they don't feel uncomfortable. Maybe we'll even plan a conversation without saying it out loud, be smooth about it. Maybe we would have more people married. Not that I'm saying that single people belong at anonymous meetings, but what I'm saying is the concept that so much can be accomplished,
Yeah.
the love and the acceptance. And the most religious people, their doors are not opening right. Have you given that thought?
I haven't thought about it in that context. I love the Shabbos table for singles meetups, accidental. Oh, so and so came and so and so came. Oh, you could walk her home. It's just down the block,
Yeah.
or just having, like you said, a few extra people so that nobody feels uncomfortable, but everybody gets to meet in a warm, loving, nurturing, romantic atmosphere with the candles lit and the challah and some songs and some connection. And like you're talking about, a very also open, accepting, non-judgmental, loving community space. I think it's really wonderful. I think the concept of welcoming guests in. Some communities do very well, and other communities are a little bit more insular. And I have to be honest, I
Right.
respect that as well
We call those
because
communities out of town,
yeah, but the right, but the communities
unfortunately.
that don't open up their homes, there's a reason that they're doing that because they're trying to provide a certain type of upbringing that when you let outside things come in, you never know what can happen. So, just for example, for somebody who has a TV in their home, right? You have your home, but when that comes in, a whole world comes into your world. Well, the same thing happens when you welcome guests in. So, it welcomes in a whole new world. So, if somebody doesn't do that for whatever reason, I would understand as well, but I happen to agree with you. The Shabbos table is highly underutilized. And if it was used more, I think that we would have a lot more matches. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can have a Shabbos table shidduch matchup initiative to get things
Yes.
moving. I think that would be really fantastic.
Yes. Glad to hear you agree with me on that. All right. So now I'm going to ask you the big question. This series that you have on Netflix, um, how did it come about? I mean, I know you've slowly, been building yourself as a person that people are knowing about, but a Netflix show that's really, really crazy. And I wonder, first of all, how did they discover you? How did it happen? How do I get my Netflix show? Um, but more than that, do you find the show more to be entertaining or more to actually, you know, like have a goal that you're going to accomplish? Like, I mean, it's got to be difficult with all the lights and their directors and producers. I don't know what you got going on behind there because I don't have my own Netflix show, as I said. But I do know that I wonder what the balance is, and I wonder how you feel about it, how it changed your life. What do your kids think? Your husband? I mean, what's going on? This is wild.
Okay, jam-packed full of questions.
I like
So
to throw a
the
few at you at a time because I know you can swim well. You'll work your way through it.
yeah, if I forget, I'll ask you. Okay, so the way that I got into this, first of all, I think anybody who would like to have their own Netflix show or that type of something, you just need to be the best at whatever it is that you do. An expert in your area, in your industry, in your knowledge base. You really need to be top of your game. You need to learn as much as you need to know. It doesn't hurt if you're charismatic. It doesn't hurt if you are easy to get along with and have a personality that pops and sizzles. That also helps as well. But you need to be an expert in your area.
Right.
The way that this came about, first of all, I'm just going to say thank you, God. Nothing happens without blessings being showered down from above. I'm grateful that this show was even a concept. It came about because of Indian matchmaking, which was a concept that they had been trying for a decade to get past. And the networks shut them down. And Netflix said, okay, we want it. And in 2020, it came out and it was like, amazing. And then they were like, wow, that was good. If we can do Indian matchmaking, hey, let's do Jewish matchmaking. And they went on the hunt for a Jewish matchmaker. And one of my matchmaker friends, Laura Young, who's known as the Seattle Shadchan, she got a phone call from them. They didn't call me. They called her. And she goes, I don't want to do this. Thanks. And they're like, no,
What?
what? Like, wait, why not? And if not, who do you recommend? She goes, you have to talk to my friend Aleeza. We do webinars together. We do speed dating together. We've done all these online things together. I've been watching her on the camera. She's great. You can ask her anything. She always has an answer and she's fun and you're going to love her. Call her, And she calls me, Aleeza, pick up the phone. Casting is calling you. There's a show. And I was like, oh, I actually I had gotten a call from a different show because there's a lot of matchmaking things flying right now. And I was like, is it the same one? She goes, no, just pick up the phone. And that's how it started. And I started doing interviews, which was really incredible. What was the
Wow.
ending of your questions? Give me the inset of the
Do
series.
you feel that it's more entertaining, or are you really accomplishing
Right.
what you do in real life up on the show?
So that is a real example of what I really do. And I really work with religious and secular. And you saw the span. I go all the way to the right, all the way to the
Of
left,
course.
everywhere in between, people that are completely unaffiliated. Just like some of the people were like, I never dated a Jewish person before. I've worked with
Do you
people like that
work with
before too.
non-Jews?
In terms of coaching, I have because people have
Okay.
found me and they're like, I love your philosophy. Can I talk to you?
Right.
And for coaching, I could coach anybody in the world who speaks English, maybe Chetzi Hebrew. And in terms of matchmaking, I'd have to refer them to my matchmaking network because I don't have a database outside of the Jewish community. My database is the Jewish community.
Gotcha.
But I just so
Okay.
you know, in terms of entertaining factor, I'm playful in my life. There were no lines, there were no scripts. They just said, whatever you do in a first meeting, go meet so and so. Here's Ori, here's
Wow.
Harmony, here's Nikisha, here's Danny. And I was like, okay, so you just want to see that? They're like, how long do your interviews take? I was like, 90 minutes. And they're like, okay, 60 to 90 minutes. That's perfect. Great. Do your thing. And they literally just filmed me with my little notebook, which is what I always have, doing my thing. and
Wow.
and what you see is very, for me, very real. The cameras, I don't know why, but maybe if let's say thank you, Zoom. I got very comfortable just sitting in front of a camera. I saw what I looked like. So I knew basically what I was going to look like on camera because you could see with your hands and the motions and
Right.
like everybody's been reflecting and seeing themselves so much. So
We
that
all have
actually,
our little soapboxes nowadays. You're right.
yeah, and we're
That's
also
true.
like little, like, yeah, we're like little mini actors and actresses on our own stage here.
Right. That is
But
a good
but
point.
but it's not acting. Like they didn't feed me lines. They didn't say this. It just wasn't anything like that. So I had the opportunity to just be me and to be real. And I forgot about the cameras. They disappear from me right away. People when I met with them, if I was their first meeting and they hadn't done their interviews on their own before me, they were a little nervous, but they warmed up right away. And you see some people are crying on camera and some people are, opening up emotionally and being very vulnerable. That's all real. You can't, even with cameras, you just get that if you connect on a heart to heart level.
That's amazing.
And I wait, I want to also say I would call
Yes.
it edutainment. It's not entertainment, it's edutainment. Yes, we're entertained, but there are very deep lessons there, presented in very simple ways to understand. Date them until you hate them. Whoa, what is that? Why would you say the word hate? Wait, if you
Right.
go to the root of what I mean and why I'm saying that, it's really important that you understand where this all comes from. And it hits a heart and soul level, and it also hits a core level of Judaism and wisdom that we give over, but in a play way, in a playful way, in a way that connects people. And then we talk about real things like Shomer Negia and our hishtadlut, our effort.
Not
All
touching.
those things are, yeah,
Right.
very, very important. So just wanted
That's
to
so
mention.
interesting because my rabbi that I quoted before, that I said there's a similarity between being a rabbi of people that are coming back on the path and matchmaking. He also used to say, when you're not sure, wait. And when I heard you saying that, I was watching one of the videos, date him till you hate him.
Yeah,
He used to say about anything, if you're not sure if you like a girl, keep dating her. You're going
yeah,
to discover eventually what the answer is. If you don't feel well, you wait. You're either going to feel sicker or you're going to get better. In anything in life, you always just keep going until you get your answer. So when I heard you say that, it actually resonated with me.
good.
And
Thank
I think that's interesting. So you're saying you're actually accomplishing on screen, and it's education, entertainment, but also the viewer can learn some skills. I didn't even consider that.
Judaism, dating skills, you learn so much from it.
That's
I have
great.
people saying they were Googling things. They asked their friend, the other one, this one, nobody knew. So they looked it up and they're like, oh, learn something new now. I think it's great that people are left with questions at the end of a video and they're like, we didn't give you all the answers. Because if we left you with curiosity and you went to research it, that's Judaism, to ask a question, to want to know the answer. That's at the core
Right.
of who we are as Jewish people.
Right. That's great. Thank you so much. Um, is there anything you want to advertise for? You want to mention? You have tours coming up. It's so funny. I was actually in downtown, what do they call it? Downtown Atlanta, um,
Yes,
by the Schustermans by
yes.
Pesach. I saw you were there a couple of days
Yes.
ago or weeks ago. So funny. What do you want to mention anything that you got coming up that people might be interested that they could still book?
Yeah. If anybody is interested in, I'm going to call it becoming your own matchmaker, either A, if you're a dater and you're looking for your person, I will teach you how to be your own matchmaker. You can become your own matchmaker to do it for yourself. Or if people are
Great.
listening and they're like, hey, I'm not a matchmaker, I'm married, but I love this stuff. I'd love to become a matchmaker. Aha, I have a course for you. And
Nice.
everybody can just go to my website, which is marriagemindedmentor.com. You can find out all the information about becoming a matchmaker or becoming your own matchmaker, or we have a whole handful of courses. We have coaches, and of course, we have matchmaking services. But I will tell you that 75% of the people that we work with, we coach, we support in the matchmaking process and going through it. And sometimes the match comes from here or there. We help them filter through, and it's probably the single best way to really find your person. Everybody thinks just set me up. Being, introduced, that's one way to get you to the chuppah, but working through the process, that's our other secret sauce to getting you to the chuppah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so, so much. I just want
Thank
to
you.
say that if it was a little grainy or the show was like a little unclear, it's because we're in different countries right now. The viewers don't know that. We're thousands of miles away, and good old Zoom is running the show. So as well as they give it, we'll take it. But it was really, really enjoyable. I really want to thank you. Thank you so, so much.